Well, if all has gone well, we are like live. It says 12 viewers. It looks like people are able to see and hopefully hear. 18. We're climbing. I hope those numbers are kind of accurate. And I hope everybody can see and hear me. I think we have Jamila online. Jamila, you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, good. And you're not hearing any nasty echo or anything?
No, everything sounds good.
Good. Just bad guitar playing?
Amazing guitar playing.
Uh-oh. You don't have to kiss up to me. It's all right. Your job is safe, babe.
Good to know.
Yeah. Well, I think. I don't know. But I probably spoke too soon. Let's... we want to do a little bit. So if anybody is... Jamila, you have access to like chat stuff out there, right? So if people type things in,
yeah, we have a comment box on the page, so everybody can just post their comments in there, and we'll be monitoring them throughout the webcast and answering any questions. So say hi.
Okay. So anybody that's out there of the now 28 people online, if you could send a message to us and let us know if everything sounds okay, because we're sort of at the mercy here of we can't really monitor this. We're working in real time, and you're working a little behind us is the way it works. And oh man, I can't watch this. I can't look at myself while I'm here. I'm moving. It changes things. Well, anyway, so if you let us know if everything sounds sort of balanced, if the guitar sounds okay, if Jamila's voice is okay, because she's actually pretty far away. Well, good 2,500 miles away from me here today. So, and we're here to talk about, well, a couple things. One thing is I'm totally open to anything anybody wants to talk about. If you want to know about playing stuff like The Fisherman, or I guess I better, I can't shut the sound off on there. Tell Jules to stop sending me messages. She's beeping my, she's infringing on our, thanks. What was I was gonna tell you something really interesting. Oh, on yesterday's news, I played through a little theme song that nobody's been able to identify yet. And so this is just something, while we have now a few people online, here's a mystery song that has been running through my head. Let me see. Weird chords. What is it? Well, anyway, okay, enough goofing off. I guess we're here to talk about Campfire guitar. Hang on just a second. Let me get. So, as many of you know, we recently have put out a disc of something, a little bit of history on this Campfire idea. Is that many years ago when I was many years ago in the beginning of TG, I was always really interested in making sure that the lessons I put together on various songs were really accurate and generally not simplified. It meant songs like, this is gonna be a bad example. It meant if somebody wanted to learn Rocky Mountain High, I'm gonna go into the tuning that John really used. And show, pretty accurately how he did it. But that's not a real beginner-friendly tune. But a beginner could learn to do that. With just basic techniques, simple strums and simple chords. Matter of fact, that's almost another 4-chord song. It's a 5-chord song. It's got C's in it, along with D, G, A, and E minor. But that's coming up. Volume 2 might include 5-chord songs. But what we have, something I always do with beginning students, and frankly, intermediate students too, is I might have them work on a song like With a Little Help from My Friends. And this is what I would call the campfire version of that song. It's how you could just strum it and sing it by yourself and have it be basic and fun and easy to learn quickly, rather than spending a lot of time learning how to do really intricate stuff that really happened in the song. So so we put together this set of 10 campfire songs. They're great songs. Songs like Knocking on Heaven's Door and One of Us. Oh man, I should have even had a list here with me, but I'm sure I'll figure them out. Brown Eyed Girl, that's one that doesn't really need to be simplified. You just strum the chords and you learn one of the 4 basic strums. So so that's what happens in this album, or in this disc. We talk about 4 basic strums, 5 chords in the key of G that you probably already know if you've been playing the guitar for a little while, and how to just put those together to play versions of these songs that you could then sit down and sing, instead of spending months working on. That's a song that doesn't lend itself well to what I would call a campfire version. It has to go like that or it's no good. But With a Little Help from My Friends, for example, simple strum, simple chords, and we're good to go. So that's what's I guess it's funny, because as I think about this, I should have done this a lot earlier, because it's really how I work with most students when they come in. Even if we're going to play something hard, like Still the Same, which one am I think of? Night Moves. There's a really hard change in it that happens very quickly, but there's a way to simplify that sort of and get rid of bring the level of difficulty down to a more level of manageability, I guess. And that's so that's what this disc is all about. It's got 10 songs in it that are easy to play, except with a lot of them, I have embellishments. You could learn the hardest one on there. I've even got them ranked 1 through 10 in terms of they start with the easiest, the very simple strum. This is not even song 1 yet. Anyway, okay, that's it for my opening speech. Anything to add there, Jamila, or anybody got anything? How's the sound?
Everything sounds good over here. We had Thomas Lenning, and Willem is with us as well. Wished you good luck. He's asking, can you do When I'm 64? Is that something that translates well into sort of a campfire concept?
Well, probably. Let me think about this for a second, because what I believe Willem's referring to is that I play a solo version of that where I pick out the melody, and this sort of leads me into why I even got into instrumental guitar playing and finger picking and things like that, was because when I was a teenager, people would say, hey, can you play, we'll take When I'm 64, for example. And I'd say, oh, sure, it goes like this. It's a 2-chord song. And they'd say, that didn't sound like When I'm 64. I said, well, of course, that's because that's the strumming part of it. You have to sing it. And they say, well, why don't you sing it? No, I think I'd rather poke sharp sticks in my eyes than sing. And so, I learned how to do stuff like this. didn't actually learn how to do that like right then. I had to spend a lot of years working on finger picking and playing instrumentals and getting bass notes going and things like that. But that's what I started doing because I wasn't comfortable with my own singing. So there you go, Willem. That's When I'm 64. I will get to a lesson on that this year. I promise. And if I haven't gotten around to it by Christmas, send me a nasty note and saying, hey, Neil, you promised you would get to When I'm 64 as a finger picking lesson a long time ago. So, but that one would lend itself actually really well to this Campfire thing, because you could do, I don't know what key they did it in. I could go, I'm not going to bother to listen to it right now, but you could do it with 2 chords. G, D7, back to G. I guess this is going to be a lesson on When I'm 64 on strumming. G7, C, oh, it's a little trickier. C to E flat, G to E7, A7, D7, G. E minor, must be B7, E minor, A minor, C, so that one is a little bit more complicated just because it has a few more chords in it. There would be an easy way to play that E flat, though. If somebody wanted to try this, that section would go from C. If you play a C chord with a high G on it, you can slide this up to the 4th fret and still strum all 6 strings. I have never shown anybody this. This is top secret. I'm going to let you guys all in on this anyway. If you've ever seen an E flat chord in a song and you're thinking, I will never play E flat, I have to get to the 6th fret and play a bar out of the A's, there is an easy way. And it is, you play a C chord, you add the high G with your 4th finger, and then you can just slide that up 3 frets. If you slid it up 2 frets, you'd be at D, another fret, you'd be at E flat. And the open G string that we haven't moved is a note that is okay in E flat. Okay, so that one is about 10 times more complicated. No, at least two or three more times more complicated than the ones that I put on our first DVD. But there's a good chance that one will be on the next one once we branch out into songs that use more chords. But they're all easy chords. That's the catch. Okay, Willem, I hope you got that. Now you should be able to play it, especially that E flat chord in the C shape. Okay, anything else happening out there, Jamila?
We're just getting some highs and hellos. We got Bart on.
Oh, and, Bart.
Tony Gable from Mesa, Arizona saying hi.
Okay.
So, yeah, just keep going with what you're doing. I don't see any questions yet. If anyone's got questions or, needs some help on some songs, now's your chance. Yeah, Bart just put a lot of cool stuff on our forum about the Coachella festival. He had some news because somebody else had asked about that. And, I don't know. The idea of going to a big festival and fending with crowds and all that kind of stuff is pretty scary to me, So, let's see. What's another example of? So some of the other songs on there, I started with the easiest one. Bet everybody can guess that. We talk about 4 basic strums, and this is really important in, I have to go into like a full disclaimer mode here. I really hate the idea of learning dozens of strumming patterns or even calling things strumming patterns. The idea with strumming is that you keep your hand moving constantly at doing downs and ups at some pace. And sometimes the downs would be quarter notes. There I'm doing 4 downs and 4 ups per measure. Sometimes they might be 1/8 notes. We
might call that double time strumming. So the quarter notes are going 1, 2, 3, 4. But for every quarter note, instead of just doing 1 down and 1 up, I'm doing 2 downs, meaning also 2 ups. And so each stroke in that case is really a 16th note. So every quarter note is being broken down into 4 strokes. Then we have 16 possible strokes to play in a measure. But in single time strumming, we have 8. And so the most you could do in a measure is hit all 8 strokes. 1 and 2, I need a different chord. Let's go to E minor. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. And in order to create a rhythmic interest and variation, we leave out some of those strokes. So technically here, not technically, but literally, I guess, I'm going 1, 2, 3, and 4, and down, 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 up, down, up. Well, that's just a combination of 2 quarter notes and 4 eighth notes instead of 4 eighth notes. Or I could do 1 quarter note and 6 eighth notes. That's a pretty solid strum to use in a lot of songs. Songs and keys I can sing. I'll put on the chords too, but I gotta think it up. That would qualify as a 4-chord Campfire song, except for one thing. It has 5 chords, and one of them is a bar chord. But it's just the basic rock strum. Down, down, up, down, up, down, up. So that may appear on one of our next volumes. When we introduce bar chords, what I was really trying to do with this one was start with something that every beginning student can do. 4 chords in the key of G. G, C, D, A minor, and E minor. Got those, all 4 of them. And then learn to change back and forth quickly from one to the next. And that's what on the DVD, there are about 3 or 4 clips in the beginning that talk about the chords you need, the strumming patterns, and particularly important exercises in changing chords to make it easier to get these things smooth. Because in order to be a good rhythm guitar player or solid, you have to be able to keep moving and not ever stop, especially stop to change chords. So the most important thing about strumming is that you keep going even if you don't get to the chord. If I was going to play, if I'm going to go back to Ramblin' Man, and let's say I'm having trouble with the F. Here's what's going to happen first. Don't ever let that happen. Slow it down and don't stop, no matter how far behind your left hand gets. Now, that time it took me a solid 2 to 3 beats into each measure to even get to the next chord. Musically, it was a bit questionable, but it wasn't nearly as questionable as this. If I can change those chords that quickly, but I'm a little late, getting to them, that is way more musical and useful than anything else. So you have to learn to keep the strumming going and just make your left hand learn to keep up with your right. Slow your right hand down as much as you have to make it happen. And if your left hand has to be a little late, let go a little earlier. Now that time I let go of those chords halfway through the measure in order to make sure that I got to the next chord at the right time. So that's what we talk about in there. Is there's a section on strumming and learning these 4 basic patterns: a rock pattern, a folk pattern, which is just like the rock pattern, but with 1 less stroke. It has a little syncopation to it because we hit 2 ups in a row at one point, and we miss a down on beat 3. We talk about a ballad pattern. this is a pretty embellished version of it. But it's the type of strumming pattern you would use in something like Comfortably Numb. And then we talk about country patterns where you're hitting bass notes. And maybe doing little connecting bass runs. So anyway, with those 4 patterns and just a few chords, you can really play thousands of songs. But we started this with 10 songs in the key of G. Let's see, we got a Beatles tune in there. Got a couple Creedence. No, yeah, I did 2 Creedence songs in there. Now, all of that is outside the scope of the Campfire thing. It's like we don't need to worry about those leads yet because you want to just have the strumming down. And then we also talk about getting them in the right key because a lot of these songs, many of them, which I guess qualifies as a lot, weren't originally in G. You can play Let It Be in G. It's ballad strum. Now they of course did it in C, and as we progress into the world of bar chords, we'll play it in C because you just need to play an F chord in there. So that'll be in probably volume 3 or 4 will probably stretch into bar chord songs, but for a while we're going to try to keep it in easy chords. So, okay, that's what's on the DVD. Any other comments or questions out there, or requests? Anything anybody wants to hear me try to play?
We did get a question from Tony Gable.
Okay.
He's saying that he's currently trying to learn Eric Clapton's Before You Accuse Me.
Okay.
And he's asking if it's the standard 12-bar blues pattern with a down, down, up, up, down, up, down, up.
I hope it's an E. It's absolutely standard 12-bar blues. Yeah, I think it's an E, and that one is more of the shuffle pattern. So that's actually a pattern I didn't talk about in this DVD. But if you can play, but that's a great song. I have students work on lots of songs that go just like that. Whether it's that one or not, sometimes it doesn't really matter. But what you want, this is the 12-bar blues played with a shuffle rhythm, which means you've got swing beat, swing time. But you're playing every stroke, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. So if you just get that going first, what I'm playing down here is an E power chord with my first finger doing a hinge bar across the 5th string and the 4th string and really killing everything else or just not worrying about it. So all you really need to hear is this, the E, the B, and the E on the 4th string. And that is a power chord. We call it E5 sometimes. And so with that E5 shape, on the 2nd and 4th beats, you're going to add your 3rd finger to the 4th fret of the 5th string, giving us an E6. We're adding a C sharp over the B. If you can do that, you can play this song. So you're just keeping this shuffle rhythm going, and that your 3rd finger on the C sharp is only down for the down on beat 2. On beat 1, just a down and an up. On beat 2, you put the C sharp down and then take it back off on the up. That's 2 beats, 1 and 2 and. And you do the exact same thing for beats 3 and 4. And that is 1 measure. So, oh, in that one it changes to A in the 2nd measure. Now that I got the song in my head. And for the A, you just move everything 1 string higher. Then it goes to A. And somehow we have to get to a B, but typically with B, you could come up the neck and do the equivalent. you could also just play a B7 chord and then back to the A riff and the E riff and a turn around to B7. So another song I'd have people learn with that would be That'll Be the Day. Well, that'll be the day. It starts with an E chord going first, but then the song opens up on A, chord 4. A, that'll be the day when you say goodbye, back to E, that'll be the day when you make me cry, back to A, say you go again. No, hit the E and stop. You ready for B7? And back to a full E chord. Then the verse goes to A, E, 3 times, then an F sharp 7 and a B7, and then back into the chorus. The F sharp 7 and B7, the F sharp 7 really needs to be played as a bar, full bar at the 2nd fret in the E7 shape, and then A7 shape at the 2nd would be the B7, or you could play an open B7 in there, or you could make the Campfire version, and that is when it gets to that F sharp, just go to F sharp power chord and the B. So that is the 2-finger power chord shape that is movable, where your first finger is on the 6th or the 5th string at the root of the chord, and your 3rd finger is on the next string 2 frets higher. That's the interval, an interval of a 5th, and that's what happens for movable power chords. You hear in all kinds of other songs. Anyway, okay, so Tony, I hope that helps out with your working on Before You Accuse Me, and yeah, enough on blues for a second, unless somebody else has another question about it. The turnaround's a little bit more complicated. We'll have to save that for another day. Or check out, I know I have a lesson at this at Totally Guitars. So, okay, anything else out there, Jamila?
Yeah, we have Willem asks, when do you decide to use a folk strum for a song?
You know, most songs can be done, well, I started on this and I kind of went off on something else. I started talking about that I don't like to think of there being thousands of different strums. And really, you just keep your hand moving. And what I call the folk strum is just one that has a little bit of syncopation in it by having the 3rd beat missed so that there's an accent on the and of 2. It's what we would use in Brown Eyed Girl. Down, down, up, up, down, up. But you know what? That song would work with the rock strum. Now notice I'm doing it a little bit faster. So there is no hard and fast rule. Tequila Sunrise, I would usually use the folk strum in that. Because we've got that little syncopation, meaning the accent on the and of 2 and nothing on 3, that makes it not as driving as the rock strum. But if I did Tequila Sunrise with the rock strum or even a country strum, we could hit bass notes. So most songs can be played lots of different ways, just depending on the, the feel or the texture that you want to have in it. I wouldn't in neither of those, not in Tequila Sunrise or Brown Eyed Girl, would the ballad strum work. The ballad strum is generally for something that is moving slower. So if I did Brown Eyed Girl with that, we'd have this. I can't even picture that now. This is the late night FM version. It has to even go slower now. So that kind of mellows it out, makes it a little different. So strums are interchangeable depending on the mood you're trying to create at any given time. So there we go with the spacey version of Brown Eyed Girl. Then I'd use the ballad strum for it. Not sure if that answers his question, but at least it elaborates a little bit.
So what you were doing there was kind of putting in small fills throughout the playing, which actually leads into our next question from Jorma, where he's looking for tips on how to actually incorporate small fills during campfire songs and keeping the strumming to continue without losing the rhythm of the song in the process. So how do you do that transition?
It depends. That's a great question, and it's it depends on how elaborate you want to get. Like what I ended up doing there was, by slowing it down as much as I did, it made it reasonable to pick out the melody or hint at the melody. More than hint, I mean, you could clearly hear I was picking out a lot of the melody notes in there, and it that's the first time I ever thought about playing Brown Eyed Girl slowly like that, and I would never even think about doing this. That's more turning it into, like, that's not just fills, right? That's like taking a solo, something you would do a little bit later. But the idea with later, meaning like you might sing through a couple verses of the song and then have your mandolin player, if you don't have one, you'd like do your own solo, something like that. But in something like Tequila Sunrise, let me think about this. Just by I think we talked about this in Brown Eyed Girl. In Knocking on Heaven's Door recently. That when Dylan gets to when he gets to the C chord at the end or the A minor at the end of either line, the singing is done, right? Well, now I have two measures of A minor that I could just put in a little heavier strum, a thicker textured strum, so that it sounds a little bit different, or I could add in some notes down here, maybe some hammer-ons. Now, all I did there was I'll go back to that A minor. On one down, I just took my second and third fingers off, and on another down, I did a pull-off from C to B. And that just, it doesn't take much to just create a little bit of, a lot of interest in a tiny little part. Again, no embellishments, no fills. Not saying. Much more interesting. Now there was a much more complicated one where I kind of just did a whole bunch of pull-offs that played a whole scale on every down on the 4 beats of that measure. I just did a pull-off on one of the strings, starting with the second string, third string, fourth string, fifth string, and that led me to here. Here's what that would have sounded like if I planned it. Totally out of control. Make sure it's tasty. Don't bend your strings out of tune. But you can see what I knew it. That was the note I bent. Shouldn't have done that, huh? So my basic strategy on fills is you don't need much. Just a little bit of movement down here. You're on a D chord. Add on the G and maybe pull it back off, a little suspended 4 in something. Don't overdo it. Just the tiniest bit of things, and then make sure that your right hand doesn't, you can't do this. So whatever happens, just keep this hand moving and let this hand do a little bit of prestidigitation. Look it up. Anyway, so I hope that helps a little bit. What else we got?
All right, so we have Thomas Black, who's asking, how do you personally decide what parts of a song to play when sometimes the guitar is less prominent and the piano or horn parts seem more important to the overall sound, but you still want to incorporate those super cool guitar licks?
Well, I wonder if he had a song as an example of what he'd be talking about. I mean, I think about bands like maybe like Steely Dan or something, you know, like I don't see I haven't done any lesson on any Steely Dan songs, although there'd be a couple that would be reasonable. Reeling in the Years, maybe. I mean, they're ones that are more rock oriented, but doing guitar lessons on, you know, Josie or Asia or any of those that are so keyboard and horn driven, I can't even imagine guitar players would want to play those, because it's like Roundabout. You know, I've done a lesson on just the opening to Roundabout, and then into the first couple of chords, but there's so much else in that song that is not guitar related, that doing a full lesson on it on everything all the way through is just even playing along with them. All of a sudden we've got keyboard solos, we got and finally, this is reasonable. But so I guess I'm more focused on songs that a guitar player could sit down and play and sing all the way through by themselves. And that, you know, that's why when we've gone into these Emerson, Lake and Palmer songs, especially recently, they're all just songs that are Greg Lake ballads that got, you know, dressed up with Keith's fancy stuff. But it's sort of a different thing if you want to like just practice playing along with the band or the recording and do some of the guitar fills that are happening in there. I don't really, you know, have a lot of lessons on that, because on doing things like that, because that's more of an electric guitar related thing, and maybe we can get Max to weigh in on this someday. But you know, I'm always focused on acoustic guitar songs that people can play and sing and perform by themselves. And although, you know, I have to, there are Chicago songs that do that. And I think I did a lesson on, although this was more of an exercise in arpeggios. And I used to like to play along with Make Me Smile. But, you know, it's not as much fun to like play and stuff by yourself. You just have to play along with the band. So I'm not sure I don't have a good suggestion for that right now. I might have to think about that more and maybe address it on the forum later on. So what else we got there?
Cool. So Jim let me know that we have some comments on the Google Plus page. So I'm really sorry about overlooking that, guys. But I've moved over there now.
Maybe I can get there. Let me see.
We have a few questions. There's one that's asking about, Johnny Guitar is asking about the chords on Blowing in the Wind.
Okay.
He said, Blowing in the Wind is a good one, but the written chords don't seem right. So I'm not quite sure what he's talking about. Maybe we can elaborate a little bit on that.
Maybe. That's a song that I am always, you know, that I learned many years ago, long before I heard like Bob Dylan's version. And, you know, but because people add a lot to that song. And so this is probably completely illegal, but what album is that on? Not on his first one, huh? Help me out here, somebody. Another Side? Well, nope. Does anybody have the answer? What Dylan album is that on? Quick.
That's the freewheeling Bob Dylan.
Okay.
Blowing in the Wind.
All right, let me grab that. There we go. Hopefully this won't cause all kinds of feedback and evil things.
How many roads must a man walk down before you call him a man? How many
So he's capoed way up the neck. So he's in the key of D. Now, and then we hear.
Must the white dove sail before she sleeps in the sand?
All right, so what's happening right there is if you want to play it in the key he's in, you got to capo to the 7th fret. And it's a G chord with C and then the bass descending, and then he goes to D.
Isn't how many times
See?
must the cannonballs fly?
Oh, so it goes to D every time. So the real version is that. Now, a lot of times in books, they might not have the fact that he capoed to the 7th and did it in G, but they might show it down here. And that's completely different harmony than what he just played. So that's one, and this happens with Dylan songs a lot, is people rearrange them. If I was going to teach somebody this, I might show it to him in G. This would be the Campfire version, G, D, and then we get to the chorus. Maybe a walk down to E minor. So, boy, one of the early books, that blue leatherette book of Bob Dylan songs that came out in the late 60s or early 70s, was, along with the Paul Simon songbook from that era, were two of the most notoriously terrible books in terms of giving you the chords to what they really played. And back in those days, books were kind of geared towards piano arrangements of songs, and they would never show you what really happened in a song. So this is a good time to work on and improve your ear training, so that you can listen to something like that and figure out what was really going on, and not rely on the, I'm sure you could find this in 58 different keys. Well, 56 is probably the limit. But by whoever, by lots of different editors and arrangers. And with a song as simple as Blowing in the Wind, you can do a lot of different stuff with it. You might, it might make a nice finger picking song. Now we don't want to do it in C because the melody starts on the 5th. So it can make a nice instrumental if we picked the right key or something too. So, we have a lot of Dylan songs at the site, and that is not one that I ever put up there. Or if I did, I just threw out a Campfire version of it and not like a real version as to how he really played it. So I have to go back and check. I'm sure somebody out there has looked at it and said, Neil was just full of it when he put this up. It's not, he didn't tell me it was at the 7th fret in G. So, but a song, actually, yeah, we should do it. We should all do a little bit more research into that. Blowing in the Wind, great tune. Probably didn't answer his question either, but who knows?
Cool. I thought it worked.
Okay. All right. Thanks. That's why you're not fired yet.
We have another question. From the beginning is surprisingly easy to play, but it's impossible to play and sing. So they're asking if you could try it.
Yeah, I know I can do it. But sorry, I don't mean to sound cocky about it. But the thing with From the Beginning, and it's many, people that know me out there would know that I've got a list of songs that I think every guitar player should learn. And this is absolutely one of them because it's got a pile of different techniques in it, from harmonics to nice little melodies. And this little part you can do picking or cross picking. Then we have to hit bass notes and mute them. We have bent notes. We've got this percussive strumming. And then we've got alternate picking. So I think the difficulty with trying to sing something like that is that all of that playing has to not be really challenging you as much anymore. So, and then you also don't have to worry about being too accurate with it. When we get into this part, might have been things I missed. Right here, if you don't get those notes clean, but don't be unkind. It don't be unkind. It could be a little more random. Might have been things I missed, but don't be unkind. It don't be unkind. Or it could be exact. There's a thing or two I think of lying in bed. I shouldn't have said. There it is. You see, it's all over. Oh, yeah, he does this different than yeah, nowadays he plays a little different than he did on the original album. And I think I mentioned this in in one of my Great Lake lessons a little while ago. One of the greatest songs of all time, and every guitar player should learn it and master it. If you can play that song with a lot of confidence and get through all that, you could probably play just about anything. So it's a masterpiece. Again, I don't know if that helps working on singing, but one of the keys to singing is the guitar playing has to be completely second nature. And many songs have such intricate guitar playing. A lot of Nick Drake songs are like this, very hard to sing because of what's going on. Riverman is a good example. I didn't do a lesson on Which Will. I've been promising to someday, Michelle. I'll get to that. Oh, the James Taylor one. Sunny Skies is another one. It's very complicated. It's the same thing done over and over and over. But in order to get that, to get to where you can sing that, what you have to be able to do with any of those is kind of keep the playing going and not be thinking about it. Maybe, learn to watch TV at the same time as you're playing or something, or because you have to really separate your brain into about 6 different parts to do complicated songs and sing them at the same time. Definitely takes a lot of practice. So, okay.
All right. So I just want to say hi to Bob and Lynn, who are also joining us today. I just noticed that they said hi to us, resident Target members there.
Good. Yeah.
So, and then the next question that we have here is from Jeffy, and he's asking, what are the 3 most used chords?
Well, speaking of Greg Lake, the first song he wrote was Lucky Man. And it was because the first 4 chords he learned were G, D, A minor, and E minor. And so he put together a song that used just those 4. So, as far as the guitar goes, I hate to limit it to 3. I mean, one of my next plan for the Campfire series is 3-chord songs, although I'm probably going to include some 2-chord songs, maybe even a couple 1-chord songs. There aren't enough of those to do a whole disc's worth. Well, there are. Run Through the Jungle sort of qualifies. But what I really tell people is that if you can learn a really basic set of chords, meaning the 5 open major chords, A, G, C, D, and E. I don't know why the order is always sort of random. Those 5 open chords, G, C, D, which are chords from the key of G, and then A and E, which are both from the key of A, and D is also in A. You are more than halfway to where you need to be to play all the important major chords. We need 3 minor chords, A minor, E minor, and D minor. Those are the only 3 minor chords you can play not as bars or as open chords. So right there, that little core of 8 chords can get you really, really far. And that's what I try to have students work on in the beginning, those 8 chords, the 5 majors, the 3 minors. We have a set of 6 7th chords, only 1 or 2 of which are more complicated than any of those. B7 and C7 are probably the most difficult, but D7, A7, E7, and G7 are all pretty easy too. So there's a set of 6 7th chords that should be part of that, but those you're never going to use a lot of those at once. So you can kind of work those in as you work on a song that has them. If you're working on Tequila Sunrise, which is a great song because it uses a lot of chords, especially when it gets into the later section, and in the later section, it also starts bringing in some bar chords. So it's that's another one of my hit list songs with every student who's working on, when they were working on Strumming, we work on the folk strum and Tequila Sunrise. Then if we want to dress it up, we work on the little double time. The double time bounce that happens right in the beginning. That's now not a beginning move anymore. That's well into the intermediate world. But so to work on the top 10 chords, I guess, is what I would really have people do, which would be the 5 majors, the 3 minors, and then 2 bar chords. The sooner you start working on bar chords, the sooner you're going to be able to play anything and be less frustrated and stressed out about them. So from day 1, or at least day 5, you should be working on F and B minor. And it's a hand position thing. It's make sure your hand, that your thumb is down low, you're able to get the bar nice and straight across the fret, and that your other fingers stay nice and arched. So I can't really stress enough how important it is to be working on bar chords, and just accept the fact that it might take a year from the time you start working on them to get comfortable with them. I do remember when I was much younger, hating to play songs that had bar chords in them. We were working on Do You Want to Know a Secret by the Beatles when I was about 11 or something. And I just thought, I will never play this song because it has too many bar chords in it. And even 3 in a row, something like that. I think we played it, I don't know if we played it even in the right key, but it doesn't matter. But so that's like what I would call the perfect 10 set of chords, or 5 majors, or 3 minors, and the 2 bar chords from the E family, F, and from the A family, B minor. Really put a lot of time into that, because that will make you able to progress much further, much quicker, and then you'll be able to learn almost anything. So a lot of books and things teach chords in the key of C first, which is really dumb, because if you're gonna play a 3-chord song, you don't want those 3 chords to be C, F, and G as a beginner. You want to play in D. You want to learn Teach Your Children or Helpless or something like that. That really stresses those open chords. So yeah, sorry I can't pin it down to 3. I could pin it down to 8, and then when you're ready to work on bar chords, 10, and then you should be set for life, I hope. Okay, what else we got?
So the next question is, what's a shuffle rhythm?
Oh, good. I played Before You Accuse Me a little while ago, and the idea of shuffle really just means it's got a swing beat to it. So swing means that instead of, what did I play earlier? Ramblin' Man. Ramblin' Man, I use the rock strum. Oh, you know what? I go into this on the DVD, is the difference between a straight strum and a shuffle strum, but I call the shuffle one a swing rhythm or a swing time. And swing time means simply that rather than sounding like this, it sounds like this. Straight, swing. Now, if I played just quarter notes in straight time, they would sound like this. Get away from those harmonics. If I played just quarter notes in swing time, they would sound like this. Straight time, swing time. Anything different? Hope you didn't notice anything different. Straight time and swing time are the same until you hear the eighth notes. So it's how the eighth notes are divided. Now, a steady flow of eighth notes in straight time and in swing time, that's what the shuffle rhythm is. It means you're playing the eighth notes in swing time. Back when I played Before You Accuse Me, I played it with swing. The ands of the beats are late. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. Here's what this would sound like straight. A song that uses the exact same riff, but is very fast, has no swing to it. Johnny Be Good. Now, if I did that with swing, we'd have this. So, shuffle rhythm means it's in swing time, and it's usually used, it's almost always used in blues, stuff like that, and it doesn't drive as hard as like the rockin' strum or the rock strum that is not done in swing time usually. Hope that helps. Are we still there?
Alrighty,
Okay.
So while we're kind of on the concept of shuffle, Johnny Guitar says Crazy Mama by J.J. Cale sounds like that would be a blues shuffle. Is that accurate?
Absolutely right. Yep. Yeah, because perfect example of a slow blues shuffle. Crazy Mama. Great tune.
Nice. And then our next question is, can Sweet Judy Blue Eyes be played in standard tuning?
Boy. Well, I'm sure it can. It's a matter of how much we'd have to modify it. So, you know, it's kind of like becomes the Campfire version. Would be a lot better to at least do it in drop D. Well, I can wander off and do this for like all day. We probably have other things to get to, but yes, it could be done, and it just wouldn't have all the droning and cool stuff that Stills has in it. But it would, you know, we could make a Campfire version of that. I will have to take that into consideration. Maybe we'll see if we can add that to one of the lists sometimes. Okay.
All right, and let's try to squeeze in a few more questions here. I think we're kind of in our hour limit already. Everybody's been awesome, by the way. I love all these questions that are coming in here. And we have also Bill Summers saying hi. He just signed on.
Good, Bill. We're looking forward to seeing you at camp this year. I'm really glad so many people that you know, kind of came out up front and said, "Oh, there's no way I can do it." Gene is another one. Quite a few people are on the camp plan for the end of August this year, and really excited about meeting, you know, all of our new ones, and of course, you know, rekindling bonds with all of our old ones. So yeah, that's welcome, Bill.
So let's address this question from Michael Melovich, and he says that it sounds like your songs are geared towards advanced players, and he's a beginning guitar player. And I know that this DVD that we're getting ready to share with everybody is going to be geared primarily towards beginner guitar players.
Absolutely, yeah, and I think, you know, back at the beginning of this broadcast, I mentioned that one of the things I always took a lot of pride in was being able to figure out exactly what the acoustic guitar players at least, were doing in songs, and kind of being able to expose those secrets that are usually well hidden in songbooks and stuff to people, you know, that really want to know, well, how do you really do this in that opening of this Rush tune or something like that. But that's the thing, you know, to play a Jim Croce song, for example, with all of the stuff he does. And is very fast picking in some things like that. But even a beginner could, an advanced beginner, once you can play a bunch of bar chords, could play that song with a normal finger picking pattern. Now, it doesn't quite have the arrangement and the drive of what happens on the album, but totally performable. So with this DVD particularly, the first 5 or 6 songs are at least ones I would teach any beginner, you know, and we've got just songs in the key of G using basic strums, and the advantage to G is it means no bar chords. Now, many songs in G, when we look at Puff the Magic Dragon, it will have B minor in it, the 6th chord in the key of G. But I really wanted to gear this disc for the beginner. But also, in many of the songs, I bring in some of the little intricacies that intermediate students will find challenging. For example, the last, and what I would consider the hardest song on here is this. And so this brings in speed. First of all, it's very fast. And then focused strumming, being able to hit certain strings at, you know, and accent certain strings. Now, you could absolutely play this song a little slower, use the folk strum we got. This is how I have beginners play this song. They want to play it. So every one of these songs is approachable or workable for a beginner. But in many of them, in almost all of them, I have little extra stuff that you might throw in there. Instead of just this, which is a great exercise, a 4-chord exercise to just learn how to change every 2 beats, we might work in this. So we can embellish. That's what happens. A lot of these have little embellishments in them that will challenge the, you know, little bit more established guitar players. But no, I would feel 100% comfortable handing this to somebody who has virtually never even played the guitar. I talk about important hand position, tips on finger placement, the best way to play these chords in the key of G. So I'm really happy with it as far as that goes. It's got some good challenging stuff in there for an intermediate player, but it's a treasure chest of info for the beginner who is especially maybe been spinning their wheels, you know, with trying to play this or that, or songs that are too hard, or can't, you know, doesn't know how to hold a pick. I've got a little thing in there about how to hold a pick, or some alternate ways of strumming using your fingers, hitting bass notes with your thumb. So that's what I was trying to do here, was make it a really comprehensive thing that an absolute beginner could, streamline their playing, get really on a focused path. So I think it's good for folks like that.
So why don't we unveil this mystery DVD to everybody?
Okay, they haven't seen it yet? Let's see, I can do that, I guess, right?
Yes, you can. And we did have a couple of guests watching that were asking what this DVD is. So let's just show everybody.
All right, let me see. Let's
talk
hope
a little
this
bit more
works.
about it.
Yeah. Oh, okay. I think we might be there. So it's Campfire guitar, and again, I use the term Campfire meaning slightly simplified, but stripped down to just its essentials in a song. You know, Sweet Judy Blue Eyes, even as a Campfire song, is going to have some challenging things in it, because we'd have to get to this. No, wrong key. Let me think here. Well, anyway, never mind. Yeah, each of the 10 songs is only about a 10-minute lesson, so it's also totally digestible. And I just bring in the couple of chords that we're using and the strumming pattern that I would say would be best to use. And we even have a nice little campfire there on the thing. Hopefully everybody can see this now. Is it on the screen there?
I don't see it just yet.
Oh, you know what? Wait a minute. Do I have to do something else? Slide. It says it's sharing it, but do I have to do something here? We're in the technological. Oh.
Are you sharing your screen on the Hangout?
Let me see here. I think so, but I didn't. There is another button I have to push, probably, huh?
Maybe the presentation button.
Present to everyone. Let's try that. Okay. Now it looks like it should be. It says I'm screen sharing and presenting to everyone. Does anybody see it yet? We do have a little delay on this. Let me see if there's something else I have to hit. Now if we go back here. Okay, still not happening, huh?
We are good. Yeah, everyone should see it now. Okay.
So that's what I mean. We're about ready. If that fire goes out, we got to throw the guitar on it, which I'm sure many students have wanted to do at one point or another. So that's what it looks like. And let me see here. A little bit of info here on, oh yeah, so there's a lot of stuff. There's about 25 minutes of instruction first on just general beginning techniques. And then these 10 songs that using the main strumming patterns. And I haven't even mentioned yet. I don't think we even have. Oh, what else is on there? I should probably think. Let's see. It says Dylan. The Dylan song is Knocking on Heaven's Door. We have Lucky Man on there, which I already mentioned earlier today. The Beatles tune that is in this is another one that's not generally in this key, but it's Octopus's Garden. The Van Morrison song is Brown Eyed Girl. Oh, there is. This one is going to catch you guys by surprise because I don't know if I'm going to capo this to the 3rd fret since you probably can't see me anymore anyway, but perfect song for the ballad strum. Okay, that's all I'm going to play for it. It'll be a surprise. If anybody can guess that from that, no, I guess I'm not authorized to give away a free DVD just now, huh? And here is maybe I flipped to the 3rd page, maybe prematurely, but it looks like we're having a special sale on it today. First 100 copies for $24. Well, $24.95. So that's what it looks like. Everybody see all that stuff? Make sense?
Yep, we're good. We had some of our audience confirming that they're able to see it. So
okay, good.
Let's go ahead and show them where to get it when they're ready. If they decide they want to jump on this special offer.
Do we have that? Oh, there it is. I blasted through this page and didn't realize that there was a URL there, campfireguitarseries.com, because this is going to be the series that I hope to have 6 of these things out over the next 6 months. We'll see. And maybe by the time we get to volume 6, we will have Sweet Judy Blue Eyes included. I'll have to keep that keep that goal at the end of the rainbow here as a possibility. So, any other questions that we can address or?
We do have a question. If the Campfire guitar DVD will be available as a download only. And this is just going to be, we have some of the content on here is new, isn't it? Or
all of it is. None of this is in the target program.
Perfect. So you can only get it here, guys.
Right. Right. Most of our other DVDs had some stuff from the target program, always with some new stuff. And that was because we had so much stuff there. And that's why those were big sets of things, 3 and 4 disc sets, because we had so much material there. And now, kind of heading into this mode of things created just for the DVD. And we haven't really talked about it too much, but there is a possibility that we could turn these into something you could download on a, pay per lesson kind of thing too. But this is not really going to be part of the target program at TG.
All right, cool. Well, that looks like that's all our questions for now.
Wow.
Guess we can wrap it up. Everybody's been awesome. We've had a lot of people come join us, and I think we're going to be continuing to do these periodically in the next coming months. So I hope everybody takes the time to join us again.
Yeah, this is our old timers, I'm sure, remember our TG lives when we were fortunate enough to have Matt here, and we could hang out together and goof off and just have all kinds of little shenanigans going on, and those were really fun. So this was and coincidentally, I remember, I think you and I, Jamila, talked about this a couple of months ago, kind of unrelated to DVD releases, just kind of like maybe it's time to resurrect that. So then I noticed Dermot even put a comment up on the forum recently that he went back and watched a few of the others, and they are anybody that's interested and wants to go watch some of the TG Live episodes, they go back to our original our really the launch of the program, which was at the end of April in 2009. So that's when we just passed our 7th anniversary of doing fun stuff at Totally Guitars. And I know now we've got like over 1,000 lessons, and it's just I ran into an old friend yesterday who the last time I saw him this is a guy that works, I shouldn't divert too long into this, but he works with Jacques Cousteau's son, diving all over the world shooting IMAX movies. Anyway, I haven't seen him in about 6 or 7 years, and he said, "Hey, last time I saw you, you were just about to get start this thing, trying to do online lessons." And he said, "Whatever happened with that?" And I said, "Well, it's now become my life, and it's been really fun." And and he was just he was floored. He said, "Wait a minute, that really worked?" I said, "It really worked." And we have thousands of people around the world that are part of the community and stuff. It's really, really cool. So now we're off into the next project, which is getting these things out on DVDs. So okay, I have probably talked enough, and let's I don't know, do we need to do anything to wrap this up? I guess I just need to stop broadcasting soon, and we could sign off, huh?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Let me see. How can I now get back out of stop sharing? Okay, that's it. That's the last chance you get to see that. So everybody's got that address? Campfire. Oh, I forgot it. Jamila, read it to us one more time.
That is the campfireguitarseries.com. And I did post the link in the Facebook chat on the casting room. And if you guys need help finding it, just reach out to us at info@totallyguitars.com, and we're always happy to help.
Okay. In that case, I think I'm going to hit stop broadcast unless anybody has a last minute question or comment that they need to throw out. We could do a little countdown because I'm also just about out of battery juice on my camera. Oh, I didn't really explain the camera, but you guys have probably figured out that we got a little fisheye effect here, and that's because I'm using a camera that I just bought for a couple of cool reasons, but it's not great for a camera, but it's a Zoom Q8, by the way, in case any techies out there. And we considered doing it with something that wouldn't look quite so fished, but I think overall the quality of it is better than what we did a few weeks ago when we just used the camera on the TV, so on the computer. So comments on that would be appreciated, but also ignored if they're not good, so I don't care. Okay, I think that's it. Ready to say goodbye, Jamila?
Yes, thank you.
All right,
very fun.
Thanks everybody.
Hope everybody enjoyed it.
Yeah, I did, and I will be back. We will probably do this again the first Saturday in June. I'm kind of thinking that might become our schedule, so we'll keep you posted. That's all for now.